Here at Grace, we talk internally about our kind of future strategy, our go-forward strategy. We call it internally Destination Grace. What does that mean? It means about us trying to elevate our game and become an even more important and relevant regional player for the visual arts. Well, this project is the embodiment of Destination Grace. First of all, of course, we've brought here an artist of international renown, and Patrick, he's done a fantastic job with this sculpture.
You know, we wanted a piece that nestled into these trees. We wanted something that was important looking from above, like a kind of a layering line that moves along the top. So if you live in one of these buildings around, you can look down and see it in a different way. By the time you get down and look at it straight on, you see how it really looks and how you could walk into it and use it. So it doesn't make sense, the title that I've come up with. It's called A Bird in the Hand. But it's got hand and bird in it, and it's got the implied bush. So I'm going to leave it to y'all to make sense of why we have to call it that. But listen, thank you very much for having me. I'll be taking a little part of you back to Chapel Hill and on to the next place that I go. And I've got your signatures, which will go in the Rogues Gallery. Thanks.
Well, we are standing in Reston Town Square Park. In town center, of course, and this is beautiful sculptural installation realized by Patrick Dougherty, and I would say up to 100 volunteers who have been here for the last 3 weeks to help realize this project.
My job as a sculptor really is to build provocative work that causes people to step away from their normal lives for a second and accept the illusion of maybe a walk in the woods or being out in the natural world and somehow having positive experiences with it. You know, for me, it's also, these are sticks from the forest, but there are lines with which to draw, and oftentimes I use and work on surfaces like a person might do with their pencil, building kind of activated lines that, you know, people tend to respond to. I have kind of a process in which I build a sculpture. The first is often to find a good place for a source for material and go and get a crew and go out and gather it. Once it comes back on site, by that time I have an idea about what to make. In this case, we laid it out on the ground, like the footprint of it on the ground with some extension cords, and then because it has to stand up, put some uprights, some bigger sticks, basically small trees in the ground, put a bunch of them in each hole, set a scaffold around the outside of the whole thing, and then pull the shape we want using the scaffolding as kind of an exoskeleton. Once the shape is firmed up, then there's a kind of a structural weave go on in which sticks go in all different directions to build a kind of crust or a shell that, you know, that you can kind of work on top of. So at that point, you know, I start building the aesthetic onto the surface of the work. It's kind of appliquing a look on there, a kind of a drawn surface on top of the shell. And finally, what we've been doing today is a kind of cosmetic work, which is basically a kind of erasing. You go around with little sticks that are very nondescript and put it over things you don't like. And that brings up, you know, kind of straightens out the levels of line quality in the walls. So there's some smallish ones, some bigger ones, some medium-sized ones, but they're in the place that you really want them. They're not just haphazard, because you're kind of constantly working towards making a better look. Well, you know, I think I built it. Now it's time to come and enjoy it and see if I did a good job.